everyone. Welcome to J's for Days on Sunday. I got a special guest in the building, New York baby, Spanish Harlem.
Yes, indeed.
There it is. I said it right. But before you figure out who she is, because she's very special to me, very near and dear in my heart, I'm going to go ahead and get this introduction video going. Jess, baby, what you drinking on? You got that sip today?
I got that girl drink.
Ooh.
I got that girl drink.
I'm licking
and
all
we got
this.
different flavors. Yes.
Hey. Well, hey, I need you to pass me one through that screen, baby. I take a sip on that girl drink.
I got you, girl. I will be shipping them because we do ship out. So you will be getting your package.
Oh, I love that. And guys, before she leaves, Jess is going to go ahead and let us know where we can find the business type of what she's going to be showcasing, where you can find her. I'm going to have all her information linked down below in the description box. So, one, I want to say thank you, Jess, for taking the time. I know we are just meeting right now.
Yes.
Directly. We've been
overdue.
Sending messages. I'm going to let her tell her story. So let's just get started without further ado. I want to introduce this Puerto Ricana, New York baby / Floridian, being that special wife, still carrying on her husband's legacy. Today, for Days on Sunday. Y'all, put your hands together for Boricua Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I'm Jess.
You're welcome.
I'm from New York, born and raised, Spanish Harlem, 109th and Lex, all day.
All day.
We relocated all day. We relocated to Florida about 5 years ago, just to give the kids a different lifestyle, more space, better environment, less violence. But New York is still embedded in me. I visit like at least 2-3 times a year, maybe even more some years. So we are definitely Spanish Harlem to the core.
Right. I love your city. Me and David just left your city. Well, his city too, because he's Dominican, so he got to claim the Bronx. And then he got me thinking that every Spanish person live in the Bronx, Jess. So I'm glad you cleared that up.
You can definitely find a lot of the Puerto Ricans in Spanish Harlem. I mean, it's so crazy because over the years, like the gentrification hit, and it's like everybody's everywhere. Like even Harlem is like all mixed up too. You have a lot of white people living in Harlem now, which I mean, 20 years ago you didn't see. Even Spanish Harlem, the people that were like born and raised like myself, you don't really see too many of those people that are like from the community. Wow. So when I go back and I see my people that have been there from like birth, I'm like, wow, you still here?
You still here?
I love to see it.
Yeah, and you know what? I love to see it too. And New York is definitely a second home for me. So tell me a little bit about you and G, because I know I've known G since like the 90s. But how did you guys get together? I think y'all cute little.
We met like 15 years ago in the scene, the New York City nightlife, and we just would bump heads because we know a lot of the same people. I was partying when I probably wasn't supposed to, but that's a whole nother story. And throughout the years, we just like started hanging out. Next thing you know, our friendship turned into like a dating ship, which then got more serious. And here we are today, 2 kids
later. How many years, Jess?
Like 15.
Oh, whoa, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about G too, because rest in power, he's not here with us, but he really is, because he played a trick earlier. Thanks a lot, G.
His energy is so big and so grand. Like you meet G, you don't forget him. And that's something that throughout the past few months now is like the message that I've been getting from people like yourself, people who I've never met, and we all are saying the same exact thing without even knowing each other and not even knowing the relationships that, some of these people have had with him. And they all embrace him in the same way. Everyone is always like, describing his smile, his laughter, how charismatic he was, how he brought people together. He was for me, he was like a family man. He was a stand-up guy. He was always like there for his kids. And even now in the spiritual realm, I still feel his presence because he's just like that. He's just a grand spirit.
Yeah. I'm so sorry too, Jess. Sorry for your loss. Like, that's hard.
Oh, it is really hard. It's really hard. But because of who he was here on earth, he's left me with so many beautiful people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you and me. When we get together, I want that dro. Did you say dro drink colada or what was
Drill
that?
drink. Yep. Drill drink. Drill drink. Drill
And
drink.
guys,
We got
before she
flavors.
leaves, she's gonna tell you guys where to find it because I'm putting my order in
Yes.
today. Because me and my husband, I'm gonna keep it on the hush hush. But I'll tell you after the Zoom. I'll tell you after the Zoom, Jess.
That's
Okay,
right.
Jess. Jess has come with her husband's Jordans. She's got some very special stories to tell you about the shoes. So I'm going to let her take the floor. Jess, the people have come to see you and G. So what are you showcasing? And remember, tell that story behind that shoe, sis, and take your time with it. We good.
So I want to start off with the shoe that is not currently being shown here, which are the Carmines.
Oh,
The Carmines were very really special to him, and it was like his focus. When we had the funeral for him, those are the sneakers that I actually put on him, just because I know what they meant to him. Um, born and raised Chicago, he was always putting like Jordan's first. Michael Jordan was number one. You couldn't tell him nothing about Chi-Town, and those Carmines were like very dear to him. Anything red, anything black, anything Bulls related is very dear to him. So those are one of the sneakers that I would always see him in. He would always be like, feet first. You got to get the footwear first, then come the outfit, which I love because coming from New York, this is like our fashion. This is how we do it. It's like you look at the feet and then you look up. So his feet was always good, always crispy. I used to get so upset with him because he takes so long cleaning them. He had to make sure he had like a whole step 1, step 2, step 3. By the time you know what, I'm like, our reservation is like about to be up because you're trying to clean up these Carmines. Like, let's go.
Wow.
Those were his number ones.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you this, Jess, the Carmines, man, those are some very, very iconic shoes. I think Jordan did one of his best dunks wearing the Carmines. And I saw G flying from New York at one point to Chicago. So did he have season tickets when he lived in New York and he would fly to Chicago to see the plays?
Listen, he would go anywhere to see the Bulls. Like he would find out the Bulls were playing in Philly, he'd jump up and be out. If they were in the Garden, he's there. He had tickets for every single game, and he would meet up sometimes with one of his uncles, and they would go together. Like didn't matter what the city was, but they were gonna be there. He didn't care if he was like front row, front center. He was up here in the nosebleeds. It didn't matter what seat. He was just gonna be present. And he definitely was present for the Bulls. That was his team.
Yeah, Chicago G. I'm not even gonna lie, G. You held that down because a lot of us who left, we weren't flying to follow no Bulls season. So, but he was that dude that kept that season love going, even when he was a New Yorker.
Exactly. They ain't call him Chicago G for nothing. He was in Chicago.
I used to be so jealous. I was like, babe, you need to get a job with G somewhere because we need to be at the Chicago Bulls after the fact. After the fact. One more key thing too about them Carmines is Jordan was very, very known for the over the shoulder dunk in them Carmines. So I see why G wanted them. They're an iconic shoe. And so you said you buried him in those shoes?
Yes. Well, he was actually cremated, but for the funeral itself, for the viewing for the memorial, he was dressed in his Chicago fitted. He had on his Carmines, and I made sure that's exactly what he would have wanted. That's what was going to happen. So
yeah, well, Jess, you are
even the memorial service. We had it with like Chicago Bulls everywhere. I even gave out like little Chicago like basketball wristlets, little memorial cards with the Chicago Bulls logo and his name on it. Everything was very near and dear to him. I even had Jameson shots going around because that was his drink of choice. We made it a celebration of life, and that's what he would have wanted.
Because listen, when I found out, and mind you, audience, G and I met in 1993. The reason why he became my best friend is because he was bad in class, and I like that. I mean, it was a clique of us, and we all rode the same bus home. But you're right, G wore Jordans when nobody else could afford them. And we always love that about him. And listen, when I started this, he was still alive. And I was like, man, I'm going to get G on the show at one point when I get all my ducks in a row. Because he was a businessman, right, Jess?
Mm-hmm. Oh, he sure was. He made sure his business was always right next to his family because it was always on the same level. He made sure he was taking care of putting drill drink, the bodega when we had a bodega.
Ay, mira, cuéntame con bodega. Tell me about that bodega right quick.
So we did have a bodega on 109th and Lexington. It was in between the street, between Lexington and 3rd Ave, close to the Lex.
Okay.
This was like the community bodega. Like you come in to the store, we treated you like family. People came to hang out. They supported us. They were there during like every event we ever had. When we were doing like the Puerto Rican festival, Puerto Rican parade, that was like another little stop for everybody in between. People from New York, y'all know how we get down for the parade and the festival. So you do your pit stops, but we had it as like, you're gonna go get the heady coladas there, you're gonna get your nutcrackers there, you're gonna have a drill drink there, and it just felt like community. It felt like exactly what we were doing from years ago before New York City was gentrified. We made it feel like home.
Oh, man. And y'all did a good job with that. And I'm just so glad you came on. And the Carmine's is such an iconic shoe. And I'm glad you let him go with them. Hey, baby girl. What's up? She's like, hey, you can stay. Let her stay. Let her stay. It's like,
okay. What's going on? What in the world?
Hola, mi amor. ¿Cómo estás? Bien. Bien, ay, qué lindo. She's so cute. Okay, let her stay because she about that life too with her daddy. Okay, what's your number 2, sis? What's the number 2?
Let's go to the Flu Game.
Oh my G-Man, G had some money.
Yeah, so those were like near and dear to his heart.
Hold him up, Jess. Hold them shoes up. Let me see. Tell that story behind that shoe, sis.
So, well, we already know what these meant to Michael Jordan.
Yes, ma'am.
They were a whole other thing. It was to the point where I used to argue with him about his screensaver. I'm like, so you want to take Jordan off with the Flu Games on and actually put a picture of your kids or me or somebody else? But no, these were very near and dear to him.
Yeah.
And we all know that Jordan had these on when he had the flu. So this was like very iconic. And in his closet, you would see these first. And then everything else, which was already on display, like it's a museum, a sneaker museum, you would always see these first. And
girl, that shoe right there. Wait a minute, right now on Fly Club, that shoe is going for $1,300 and up.
Wow.
And up. And I mean, that's one of them game 5s. What'd you say, Jess?
I said these will definitely get passed down to my son along with the rest of his sneaker collection. So I'll never get rid of any of it. I'm always gonna keep it because it's legacy.
It's legacy.
It means so much to him. It's gonna mean so much to my son. G wore size 12. I'm pretty sure at some point my son's gonna be a 12 because he's already almost my height. He's 8. So
yeah, and he looked just like G. He got a little bit of you too though, Jess, but he is carrying G's vibe all the way. And one thing I like about that Flu shoe, can you hold that Flu Game shoe back up? Is Michael Jordan wore that in Game 5 of the 1997 when me and G was graduating from high school. NBA Finals, baby. And because Michael Jordan had the flu like symptoms, that's why they named that shoe Flu Game, because Jordan was sick. Getting 38 points, just in that game. He shot 38 points in that game.
Wow.
That was amazing. And that shoe is expensive.
It sure is. It sure is. So after this interview, they're going to go right back into the clear box, the sneaker museum that's in the room.
And I'm going to ask you this before you leave. So let me ask you this. Was that one of G's favorite pairs to put on?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This one and the Carmines, I can't even say. I think they were like, one-on-one because it was either one. I mean, if you were to see his collection, he has so many sneakers. Like, it's just so much. And then, of course, Yeezys got introduced and he got a ton of those too. But his Jordans were, that was his heart, because the Bulls. I mean,
the Bulls.
You don't think about Jordans without thinking about the Bulls, without thinking about Chicago. So this is home.
Yeah, but you know what? His shoe collection picks were right on point. You could tell he didn't have the shoes just for fad. He actually knew the history behind the shoe, and that's why he got the shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, G. Okay, what's up with your number? Is this gonna be your number 1 or your number 3? Which one is this one?
This is my number 3.
Okay.
And I chose the retro olive 9s because he just wore these a lot. Like, this is just something, I think of these, I think of him. Because of the olive color, he would wear like his army fatigue sometimes with this. Of course, he threw on a Bull shirt because half of his apparel was like Bull Chicago. I'm like, can we steer away from that for a little bit? If you want to get like a shirt with like a design or something different, maybe spice it up. No.
That dude was a Bulls fan.
Mm-hmm. So even though these to somebody may just be like a regular pair of Jordans, to me it means a lot because I see so many visions of him in this. I see like, his attire. I can think of like the shirt he wore with it. I can think of the places we went to while he had this on. So all these sneakers are like so close to my heart because they bring back so much happiness and so many good memories and
that's wonderful. And I'm gonna tell you this, I think I know why he wore them shoes a lot, Jess. I just got me a pair of 9s. It's like walking on air.
Yes, because I had a pair of these too, but the white and grays, and they're super comfortable.
Yes, I love my 9s. I wore my 9s to New York. I had on my 9s in New York. Okay, so those are the Jordan 9s olives, and Jordan and G wore those shoes.
He wore these. They're so, I think maybe,
and they still look brand new.
Because what I told you, it's a step 1 through step 4 process of getting all these sneakers nice and clean. We would miss half the events we go into because he got to make sure the footwear is like precise.
Oh man, I wish I could have been around during them times. I would have been like, "IG, you got us on those. Those are it."
By the time like he's on step 3 of the cleaning process, I'm already cursing him out in both languages, and I'm like, "Let's go," but he's like, "No, my footwear gotta be crispy. I gotta clean it." I'm like, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah.
Dedicated to cleaning sneakers because that's how long it took. But yeah, so these mean a lot to me because I get like just pictures and memories in my head of like all the outfits, all the events, all the times we spent together, and I remember this shoe a lot.
Oh yeah, and do you remember him? Did he cop those in 2012? Do you know? Was it around that time?
He probably got these a little more recently because another thing with him is even if he did get them in 2012, he probably rebought them again in like 2017.
Oh, so he was an avid collector. Oh.
Let's say if it got it scratched up, if it had a mark or something, he just might end up rebuying the same sneaker like 4 or 5 years later. Because there's some sneakers that I've noticed in the museum closet that we may see like duplicates of something. So
did you say in the museum closet?
Yes, because his closet is like the museum of all the Jordans and Yeezys and sneakers all under the sun. So
Jess, how many shoes do you think that man has in his closet?
I'm like trying to see the walls. I want to say it's somewhere close to like 100 pair of sneakers.
I can believe that. I can believe that. Wow.
Yeah. And Jess, he made sure to use like the height of the walls and everything. And he had to make sure to get all the nice little display cases as well, so you can see what it is inside of it, and they're all like lined up. He took care of them sneakers better than anything else.
Oh my! She said better than anything else.
He would throw clothes around and do this and do that, but when it came to that closet and them sneakers, oh yeah. They were on point.
Wow. I'm so happy to hear that. When I come down to visit you, I definitely want to step into that closet because I know for it to be built with love, it's energy up in that area that's real nice and strong for sure. Yeah. Jess, let me ask you this. So you've been his wife for a long time, past a decade. Mm-hmm. How much had he ever paid for a pair of Jordans that actually pissed you off?
Girl. So he definitely spent, I think, like, I want to say, like, 1,000 or maybe 1,200 on them Travis Scott ones.
I can believe that.
He won a pair, but then ended up buying another one because he started reselling. So he would get stuff because he was getting them like this. I'm thinking he had a bot working for him or something because he was getting sneakers left and right.
Right.
He spent that much, and I was like, "Hold up, you did what?" I'm like, "For some sneakers, really?" And I might even be lowballing. But I remember just being like, why are you spending so much money on all these things, like on these sneakers? Like, and you're not even wearing them. They're going into a display. He's like, no, you don't understand about the value and how it's going to get better later. And this is legacy. I'm going to leave this for my son. And this. It was always something.
He used to say that.
He used to say that a lot. Like, even my son has so many Jordans from when he was a baby, and they're all still in the boxes. I'm talking like every sneaker he had, he made sure to get it for him. So he has sneakers that are untouched, maybe worn once or twice, and they're like small sizes, like 10C, 11C. But I still kept all of them. And my son has now a growing collection of sneakers too. So
wow. And listen, I'm gonna have your son on the show in a couple of years. Watch. He's gonna be on the show showcasing his top three.
I'm sure. He's totally gonna have his collection up as well.
Wow. Okay, Jess, before you leave, because we're getting close to that time. If you don't tell the people where they can find you, I will. Tell the people where they can find you, whatever you want to put out there, and let us support you and love on you while our man rests in power. You know, he's resting in power right now.
He's resting in power. He's still amongst us. He's just in the spiritual realm, watching over everybody, and he's here right now. So
he is.
Everyone can find me on Instagram. I'm at Jess is a star, JESSIZASTAR. And I know Damia's also going to have that for you guys to click on. And then as for the business page, which is G's company with his partners, is Drill Drink. So they're infused lemonades. We have lemonade. We have berry, pineapple ginger, which is actually my fave.
Ooh.
We also do CBD water, CBD gummies. And then you'll have that Instagram available for them as well. You can definitely place orders. There's a link tree you can click on, and then it'll take you to like the order page and everything. So
I am definitely putting my order in today. Hubby just got paid Friday, so we all good. And Jess, listen, I want to thank you because I know that this is hard. You know, you have my deepest condolences. I think that he married the right woman. I'm so happy for my friend of so many years that he got such a strong, amazing woman like yourself as his wife that is going to make a due diligence to carry on his name. There's not many women like you, Jess, so I'm so glad y'all two made that union because it's beautiful. Yeah, and listen, don't go nowhere. I'm going to get ready to close out. I was searching for a quote that fit G. And the quote that came up says, live life to the fullest.
Amen.
Amen. I said, I looked through like at least 50 quotes. I said, that's not G. That ain't G. G taught us how to live life. And I want to thank you, G. Rest in power, man. You still a part of the Chaz family, baby. All the way out to Mount Greenwood in Chicago. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. We want to thank Jess.
Thank you so much for having me.
For coming on the show. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you share. You comment. You also make sure you check out her information in the description box. She will be back. We got to get her collection on here.
That's right.
We got to get your collection on here next. So, Jess, I need you to pop that Dro drink open. And without further ado, baby, J's for days on Sunday. And you better take that what? You better take that sip, Jess. Bye, y'all.